Should you move to Amarillo, Texas? Let's talk about the pros and cons. If you're thinking about making a move to Amarillo, Texas, we get calls, texts, and emails every day from people just like you who are looking to make a move to this area, and we would love to help serve you in that area as we are the relocation specialists of choice here for Amarillo, Texas. Go ahead and scan this QR code to schedule a one-on-one Zoom call with me directly. And then from there, we can talk about your goals and needs and really look forward to finding you that right next home. If you are looking to get started making a move to Amarillo, Texas, we're going to talk about all the things today. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the things that you do love, the things that I don't love, and everything in between about moving and living in Amarillo, Texas. So let's talk about something real quick as far as one of the first things that you're going to look at whenever you look at making a move to Amarillo, Texas is what are the home prices? The first pro, and that's affordability. So affordability here in Amarillo, we're actually almost $100,000 less on our median sales price here in Amarillo versus the national average. What does that mean for you if you're looking to move here? That means depending on what area of the country you're moving from to Amarillo, Texas, your money is going to go a lot further here. I hope that gives you a good understanding of affordability. I'm going to basically put on the screen right now what our average or our median sales price is for Amarillo, Texas. I'm going to put the national average so you can see the difference. Next, let's get into jobs and growth. Amarillo is actually the second fastest growing mid-sized city in America. So there's tons of opportunities here. We have the loop, which goes around Amarillo, Texas, and then we're actually building another loop outside of the loop, and there's so much growth happening to where Amarillo is expanding outward right now. At this point, you're seeing a lot of movement to the south, a lot of movement to the east. There's new developments to the north, and there's also a ton of developments to the west and to the southwest of Amarillo. Jobs are steady. You have Bell Helicopter here. You have Pantex, which is federal jobs. You have Baptist St. Anthony Hospital, you have Northwest Hospital, you have Texas Tech's sister campus, Amarillo College, you have tons of restaurants, tons of hospitality. The entire downtown scene has been revamped over the last several years, including Hodgetown, which is one of my family's personal favorite activities in Amarillo is to go watch the Sod Poodles play baseball, watch the fireworks show in the Christmas time. I'll add a little clip here to kind of show you what that experience was like. And then honestly, there's just so many things about Amarillo that just screams growth, opportunity, jobs, stability, affordability. So there's tons of opportunities here. And we have an outline over the next several years of developing everything around that outer loop that is going to bring so many more businesses, so many more subdivisions. There's already another subdivision by Beaton Bow, which is one of the local builders here, that's going in on 34th, just to the west of all of the basically commercial zoned like restaurants and retail outlets and like Kohl's and Starbucks and all of these different places. You're going to have an entire new subdivision just to the west of that, which was all just farmland and agriculture land prior to just a few years ago. Amarillo is about 4 hours away from some major zones. You're about 4 hours away from Albuquerque, New Mexico. You're about 3 hours and 45 minutes to skiing in Santa Fe, New Mexico. You're about 5 hours away from Dallas, Fort Worth. You're about 3.5 hours away, 4 hours away from Oklahoma City. And you're only about 5 to 6 hours away from Colorado and skiing and outdoor activities there. So Amarillo is a good hub of anywhere you want to go outside of that. We have an international airport, Rick Husband International Airport. That's great. It's so easy to get in and out of Rick Husband Amarillo National. And so there's just a lot of things going for Amarillo that are just really, really positive whenever you're looking at moving here. Another pro about Amarillo is it's going to be extracurricular activities. It's going to be family activities and events. It's going to be the schools, the sports, it's going to be churches and faith. And when you think of Amarillo, Texas, we have so many local churches who are willing to pour into the community. We have amazing churches here, amazing leaders here, amazing small groups. And that's really one of the things that helps Amarillo stand out. And then along with that, you're also sports. I mean, you're in West Texas, and football and sports is absolutely king here. So if you have a child that has some talent, you're going to have a lot of ample opportunity depending on what school district you land in for your child for those extracurricular activities for sports, football, baseball, soccer, volleyball, track, anything that you can think of. The Texas Panhandle around Amarillo, there are so many towns that are so good year over year for going deep in the playoffs, making state championship runs for football, volleyball, basketball, baseball. So many things, softball, anything you can think of. The Texas Panhandle is really some of the best if you're looking for extracurricular activities for your kids. If you have talented kids who are really excelling where they're at and they come to Amarillo, chances are they're going to have more of a challenge. So their game is going to level up once they come here, depending on where you are relocating from, based off of all the extracurricular activities. We have Kids Inc. We have Hoop 10, which is another basketball outlet. We have summer league travel teams with baseball and softball. There's an entire city league soccer team and club league. And there's so many activities here in Amarillo for families, for kids. There's so many local parks. We have disc golf courses. We have skate parks. We have swimming pools. We have walking paths, biking paths, pretty much everything you can think of that you wouldn't actually think about for moving to a place like Amarillo, Texas. You're like, there's nothing here. I don't hardly see any trees. There's blowing dirt everywhere. It smells like cows. So it's just one of those unique places to where once you actually get in this community and you understand how truly vibrant and lively Amarillo truly is and how much life it gives to its residents. We have a really good community here. People are so friendly here, willing to help out in any situation. There is a thing such as Southern hospitality, and it is well on display at Amarillo, especially for those of you looking to make a move and move to Amarillo, Texas. We also have amazing event centers and concert venues, and we have so many things that go on the activities page. I'm going to post a link in the description to show you a calendar for all of Amarillo's activities so you can kind of get a feel for some of the things that we do depending on what time you're going to be here or travel here or move here, so that you have a good idea of things that you and your family can do as well. Now let's talk about our first con, and that's going to definitely be the weather. The weather in Amarillo is very unpredictable. In the summertime, we can reach 120 degrees heat index. That is so hot, you guys, which that's expected. A lot of times when people think of Texas, they think of heat. It's hot, right? That's what everybody thinks of when they think of Texas. However, nobody actually thinks of Amarillo, Texas getting down to negative 20 wind chill in the wintertime. That's right, negative 20 wind chill. It has been negative 20 wind chill here in Amarillo, Texas in the wintertime many times throughout my life, with blizzards, 21 inches of snow on the ground, and everything in between. We can have tornadoes here in the spring and the summer months. We have hailstorms. We have lightning storms. We have rainstorms. We have blowing winds 80 and 90 miles an hour at times. That is not an exaggeration. Amarillo is the second windiest city in America. So whenever people think of the Windy City, they always think of Chicago, but they don't think of Amarillo, and we're number 2. So that's something to take into consideration. So for example, when we didn't live in Amarillo, we actually experienced more days of no wind than wind. The average daily mile per hour of wind here in Amarillo is above 16 miles an hour on average. That's basically just your normal standard day. So a lot of times in other places in the country, a 20 mile an hour wind or a 30 mile an hour wind would be considered high wind. That's a normal day here in the Texas Panhandle. So just things to consider. In the summertime, it could feel like a blow dryer outside because you might get 40 and 50 mile an hour winds in the summertime, but the heat index is upwards of 115, 120. And then in the wintertime, it can get everything down to negative 20. Now, it's been my experience, the wonderful time of year is usually between about July to September, October. Here in Amarillo, yes, it's hot. Yes, it's stifling. However, the wind over the past few years has actually seemed to die down a little bit, as to where in the wintertime, the springtime, and the storm seasons, you can get crazy amounts of wind. So for example, one of the things about weather, I always share this with everybody, is May 11th, 2008, I was on campus teaching at West Texas A&M University in Canyon, grading papers. My students were coming in, and they were all in shorts and tank tops, and it was 93 degrees outside. All of a sudden, in the afternoon, they're coming in parkas and winter coats, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they said, have you not looked outside? So I turned around and looked out my window, and sure enough, there were 2 inches of snow on the ground, and it was below freezing. So in just a few hours, it went from 93 degrees to below freezing with 2 inches of snow on the ground. That gives you a good indication of how dynamic the weather is here in Amarillo. So that is definitely a con, because it's very hard to prepare for. The weathermen constantly, I love you, Doppler Dave, I love you, to all of you other, other meteorologists here in Amarillo, but they constantly get it wrong because there's just no predicting the weather in Amarillo, Texas. So you need to be aware of what you're moving into whenever you move to Amarillo with the weather. Definitely another con. We are definitely going to be very, very high in property taxes, you guys. Property tax rate here in Amarillo can vary between 1.4% to 1.8%, depending on the county that you're living in and around Amarillo. That's extremely high. We are one of the highest property tax zones in America. Unfortunately, the entire state of Texas is. So for example, we lived in the 11th least affordable city in America, which is Corvallis, Oregon, for a few years, and the property taxes were very similar to there as they are here. Now, differences, you don't have state tax like you do in Oregon, but it all evens out. Personally, I think no matter where you're at, the government is going to get their money one way or another. That's just how it's going to be. So I think one thing you have to consider when moving to Amarillo, Texas is definitely going to be the property taxes. They are going to be higher. So one thing we encourage our buyers to do when you do move here is go ahead and file for your homestead exemption, because it will drastically decrease your taxes and you can enjoy that benefit. There's other benefits to the homestead exemption as well. So if you have questions on that, drop those in the comments and I'll see if I can answer them as they come up. This could be a pro and it could be a con. Is some of the outdoor activities. As I mentioned before, we have Paladuro Canyon State Park, which is the second largest canyon in the U.S. outside of the Grand Canyon. I've spent many of days and many of times out there hiking, biking, climbing, everything you can imagine. There's hiking trails, biking trails, so many different outlets. You have a play called Texas, which is wonderful for a family adventure. If you want to go out to Paladuro Canyon, you have this beautiful setting inside of a canyon, and there's this wonderful play that happens down there. They have fake lightning and horseback riding and all of these fun things. So definitely check out Texas while you're here. The other thing about Paladuro State Park is usually so here's kind of where the con comes in, even though it's a pro that we have all these extracurricular activities. I already mentioned the weather. So in the summertime, you could be in a heat index of 120. Well, in the canyon, it's usually 5 degrees warmer, 3 to 5 degrees warmer in the canyon than it is outside of the canyon. So that's something to take into consideration. Make sure you have water with you when you go to Paladuro Canyon. Other activities we have bowling, we have hiking, we have biking, we have a par 3 golf course. We have some of the best golfing actually in the state with Ross Rogers Golf Course. It's one of the top rated golf courses in the state, maybe even the nation. And then we also have other there's tons of golfing here. There's a lot so we have the downtown event center, so you can have concerts. In the wintertime, they have the Nutcracker. There's an opera. There's the choir. There's so many different things. There's the Science and Arts Center. There's the Discovery Center that you can go for families and look at all of these things related to science and history and everything else. There's a botanical gardens. There's a zoo. There's so many parks. There's hiking. There's biking. There's so many different extracurricular activities. I've already mentioned one of my personal favorites, which is Hodgetown, going to watch the Sod Poodles play baseball. It's one of the best things of Amarillo. I am so glad that this city poured time, money, and energy into the downtown revitalization because it's amazing. You have so many amazing restaurants downtown like Crush. You have a 6th Street pub. or 6-car pub. You have amazing hotels downtown. Most of your financial institutions are going to be downtown, such as Amarillo National Bank. You have the old Santa Fe building. There's just a lot of diversity, a lot of history downtown. And then on top of that, you have Wonderland Adventure Park, which is an amusement park. There's city water parks that have slides and lazy rivers. The Canyon Aqua Park's 10 minutes away. There's, again, so many diverse and amazing, vibrant things here. There's Lake Meredith, which is the closest lake that you and your family can go enjoy and go skiing and tubing and fishing and all of those things. And there's so many different amazing things here about Amarillo that people don't really think about whenever you think about moving to Amarillo. I hope this video has helped give you an idea of what some of the pros and what some of the cons are of living in Amarillo, Texas. And if you have any questions either about the real estate market or what to expect or how to move here and make it a smooth transition, go ahead and click the first link in the description, and that will give you all the information you need. We have a free home buying guide that will give you some great details on what your next move could look like. There's a one-on-one link that gets you directly to me to book an appointment so that we could discuss your goals, your needs, and have you get on your journey to moving to Amarillo, Texas. So I really greatly appreciate your time today. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop us a comment on what your favorite part of Amarillo is, or maybe what your favorite con of Amarillo is, or your worst con, if you will. And then please go ahead and click that notification bell. That way you get alerted on new videos. If you're wondering about mortgage rates and you're kind of wondering what buying a home even looks like or where to get started, we actually have one of our trusted vendors. We did a video with her, Callie Arredondo with Texas Tech. Go check that video out to get more information on how to buy a home. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.